As a conductor, Tar began her career with the Cleveland Orchestra, Chicago Symphony Orchestra, the Boston Symphony Orchestra, until she at last arrived here at our own New York Philharmonic. In 2013, Berlin elected Tar as its principal conductor, and she's remained there ever since. Lydia Tar has also written music for the stage and screen. She is one of only 15 EGOTs, meaning those who have won all 4 major entertainment awards. Thank you for joining us, Maestro.
Thank you.
How's the writing going?
Not so well. I keep hearing something.
Schopenhauer measured a man's intelligence against his sensitivity to noise.
Do you ever find yourself overwhelmed by emotion?
Aloha. It's Trinidad the Island Man, your Island Man, coming to you live once again from beautiful Hawaii here on the island of Oahu, bringing you, yes you, the best movie reviews on the entire island of Oahu. And last night, opening night, well, actually it was Thursday, of the reissue of Tar, the Cate Blanchett movie, where she is nominated for an Academy Award as Best Actress for the Oscars this year for her movie of 2022. Now, this movie, Tar, came out, according to the posters, October 7th of 2022. And unfortunately, it did not get a very wide release. It was only at maybe a few artsy-fartsy theaters, say like over at the Kahala here in Hawaii. Perhaps more there on the mainland, I'm not sure. But it definitely did not make my local theater, or realistically any of the other Regals here on the island of Oahu. And yes, I know I'm shortchanging myself by not going to the consolidated theaters anymore, but my local consolidated theater has closed post-COVID and the building is shut down. I think they'll probably put a drugstore over there, probably a Long, CVS, something like that. That's my predictions for the old consolidated theater in Kaneohe. Outside of that, gosh, talking about Tar, yes, it was supposed to be out. Well, it was out already. It was nominated for the Academy Awards Best Actress, Cate Blanchett, who stars in the starring role. And without further ado, it is, well, remember our rating scale, a shock a thumbs up. It's good to see. Shock a thumbs down. It's junk. I don't recommend it. It's bad to see. Just skip it. And for Tar, starring Cate Blanchett, it is a shock a thumbs up. Let me just say that I pretty much went into this cold. I had seen last year, when the movie came out, some trailers leading up to it. But basically, the most trailers you got out of it was the one trailer that I presented to you prior to this review, which really doesn't show very much. We get from that the gist of it, that Cate Blanchett plays Linda Tar, or Lyda Tar, as she likes to be called. A world-famous, world-acclaimed orchestra conductor, symphonic orchestra conductor, who, you see in the trailer, has an EGOT, the Emmys, Oscar, nominated for all these awards. Musically, doing interviews for an upcoming book, getting ready for her greatest performance ever, as she prepares for that show, as she is head conductor of the Berlin Orchestra, having done stints in Boston and being the major conductor there and throughout other cities in America, even going as far as, South America to do some type of Aboriginal Indian kind of album or music indoctrination with that separate culture and reaching great acclaim through that. However, her peak, her pinnacle is this new live performance that she is preparing for. And as we see throughout the show, she is very eccentric, as most great artists, most geniuses are. Somewhat anxiety ridden, somewhat phobic of people and new ideas. She's definitely, as one would say most leaders are, most effective leaders who take on these great challenges, they are pushed to an extreme. Basically, it's them and them alone facing the world. Although she is married to the head violinist in the Berlin Orchestra that she conducts for, who apparently we find out had helped her secure her position on the Berlin Symphony Orchestra, teaching her the ins and outs when she arrived and how to play for power there in Germany, which she, Cate Blanchett's character, Linda Tarr, really seems to excel at. Making sure that she's got the most, that she takes up all the air in the room when she's on stage, despite the orchestra themselves, despite maybe the interviewers interviewing her questions, even friendship relationships that she has, or even in her personal relationships with her wife. So right off the bat, at least from the trailers and the first half of this movie, I was feeling very much that it is just maybe, like a Beautiful Mind kind of a show where eccentric, genius in their field pushes away everyone and either ultimately finds themselves alone, with just their genius and their acclaim in the movie, or there's some kind of turn in the movie where they realize that despite their genius, they need to find and open up to those who love them around them, and become a more fulfilled person than just their work alone, that just driving them towards the greatness that they've achieved and to the even greater greatness that they seek. Well, I'm happy to say that I was disappointed in that. This movie was not that predictable, fortunately. So it is, again, a strong shock, a thumbs up. Let me just say, Cate Blanchett is up against a few other actresses for Best Actress this year for the Oscars. The only one I think would challenge her would be Michelle Yeoh. My money, my personal bias is on Michelle Yeoh for Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. I think she does a fantastic performance in that, Michelle Yeoh. You've seen my review of that movie already on my channel when it came out. And I think, just the dynamic of that movie makes Michelle Yeoh's performance in that, not only worthy of an Academy Award for Best Actress at the Oscars, but also, the likely to win. Plus, again, I'm biased. I've watched a lot of her martial art films in the past. But also, I think this would be a great feather in the Academy's cap to give the winning Best Actress be an Asian superstar, as Michelle Yeoh is. Not to say that her work wasn't great and worthy of that Oscar. It is. But being, unfortunately typecast as an Asian actress, and not given the opportunity to get such meaty roles such as that, especially starring, I think if Michelle Yeoh doesn't get this Oscar from this opportunity, she is never going to get the chance again. Cate Blanchett, she's been nominated, I believe, at least for supporting many, many other times. I think even Best Actress once or twice before for other performances. And I am absolutely certain, not to, call, a spade or Ollie, but, she's a white woman. She's going to get into the nomination process again and again and again before her career is over. That's the kind of work Cate Blanchett does, and she definitely does bring it here. However, I would still like to see Michelle Yeoh win it. Comparing these two roles, they're vastly different. Both go to the extreme in their roles for their performances, Michelle Yeoh and Cate Blanchett. Still, I think it would be best, and I think Michelle Yeoh just edges it out a little bit over Cate Blanchett. And it's a more optimistic movie in the end, Everything, Everywhere, All at Once. And again, it would be a great feather in the cap of the Academy to recognize this diverse opportunity it's been given on a silver platter. That being said, I've digressed. Cate Blanchett is and does a fantastic, phenomenal role as Linda Tarr in this movie Tar, as this, world acclaimed symphonic orchestra conductor. Her discussions on music during interviews and with other conductors that, are her friends, but she keeps at arm's length as competitors, always willing to go the next step to kind of kneecap them, and especially up-and-comers who even study under her, so that they don't take away from her potential glory and rising stardom. That, many would say she'd already achieved, she should just sit back and bask in it. But she is driven to this greater and greater need for acceptance and admiration, which potentially plays towards her downfall. As we see refreshingly, a little bit of spoilers to come now for Tar and Cate Blanchett. She is involved in in some sexual scandals with her students from Juilliard and also from the orchestras that she has conducted, which eventually leads to a young up-and-coming conductor's suicide when she apparently, we don't get very many details, but what seems to have happened is that, Cate Blanchett's character, Linda Tarr, and this up-and-coming young female conductor have a falling out in their relationship, both professionally and personally. Linda Tarr, Cate Blanchett's character, takes that very, very personal and basically sends various emails to every other every other orchestra saying, don't hire this woman, she is no good at all. And with Cate Blanchett's character being world acclaimed, the #1 conductor in the world, people listen and don't hire her. So her career, this young girl's career, is destroyed even before it even has a chance to start, on its own, outside of the shadow of Cate Blanchett. And in doing so, she commits suicide and leaves enough evidence or notes that speculation begins to arise of this sexual misconduct with Cate Blanchett's character, which undermines her entire up-and-coming performance, her hard-won fame that she had so long clung to, and just utterly destroys her career, rotting it out from the inside, and also the wonderful marriage that she had with this violinist from the Berlin Orchestra, and loses her daughter in the process, as the two have an adopted daughter. And so this is really a rise, meteoric rise and fall of, a woman, a person of extreme talent, driven too far to the breaking point, and thus causes themselves to collapse inward, destroying everything and losing everything in the process that they had once loved and cherished. And we see, how does one even attempt to continue on after that? That is what Cate Blanchett brings to this role, and more than adequately, superbly portrays in this movie. My only hesitation with this movie, it was a little hard to take on the first half of this movie. There's a lot of talk about music theory and, artistic values of music and conducting and technique and history, that as a general, I like, I like pop music and rock and roll, and I have been to the symphony, I have enjoyed the symphony, but I am not well known into these great conductors through the world. I mean, yes, they mention the greats, Mozart, Beethoven, etc. But outside of that, there's a lot of name dropping, and a lot of, you see how the meat is made, how the sausage is being made in the world of high orchestra music, and the ins and outs and the backstabbings that takes place. And I found that a little boring, to say the least, until we started to get into the more personal story that takes off in the second half of her downfall. And we see that this is not just a musical theory class of a movie, but again, the downfall of someone who is great, but unfortunately self-destructs because of their ambitions, I believe. All right, so again, Tar, Cate Blanchett, nominated Best Actress for this year's Academy Awards. She's the best shot at winning the Oscar, but again, I hope Michelle Yeoh steals that from her, because Michelle Yeoh also well deserves it. But as far as Tar goes, it is a shock of thumbs up, and well worth seeing. So go ahead and check it out however you can. It's been re-released at theaters, hopefully at your main theater, nearby you. If not, it is streaming on Peacock and also available on VOD, for some charge. All right, mahalo and aloha.